What is good, YouTube? My name is Velikan. In this video, we are taking a look at the tier 7 relics for Leagues 6 Demonic Pacts for Oldschool Runescape. And let me start off by saying that this video does not include an overview of time saved for every relic between flow state and every reloaded relic. If you're looking for that, please visit the OSRS League Discord. I do have some insights to share, so let's get started. Flow state. The following actions occur at a rate of 1.2 seconds, aka 2 cycles or perhaps 2 ticks, rather than their usual speed. Mining, woodcutting, fishing, cooking, fire making, offering bones at a prayer altar. Then fletching, smithing, crafting, some farming interactions, low and high level alchemy, also the transmutation skills, alchemic divergence and convergence, if you have them, and then some random stuff like Wintertot, Temporos, and stealing valuables. Very cool. So, all actions are now 2 tick, not minus 2 ticks, right? So they're just hard set to 2 ticks. And if you take a look on the right, you can see that, for instance, mining with a rune pickaxe is normally 3 ticks, and it is now 2 ticks if you go flow state. That means a 50% increase. I think all of that kind of makes sense, but you can clearly see that, for instance, fire making is 100% faster. If you do bonfires, it's 200% faster. Fletching arrows is exactly the same. Flow state does nothing for fletching arrows. Smithing is significantly faster. Crafting is a little bit faster. Farming is a little bit faster. And magic, specifically high alch and transmutes, are significantly faster as well. More than twice as fast. Right? So typically, you could say it makes most things about 50 to 200% faster. So that's pretty damn big. This ties into your tier 2 relics as well. So hotfoot smithing and woodsman fire making and fletching. It does help with a lot of skills. It doesn't solve much, but it just makes things faster, right? So it doesn't really solve a lot of skills, but it definitely makes skills faster. That said, in my opinion, Reloaded is oftentimes better. I will be covering Reloaded in a second, so let's stick to flow state for now. The overall impact is quite big, but arguably most skills don't need the help. And for instance, flow state transmute is way faster magic experience. There's also some discussions about flow state blood rune crafting with map of alacrity, because if you take a look on the table on the right, mining dense runestone is base tick 9, and then with flow state it's 2, right? So blood RC is very fast. I don't know if that means that blood RC is good enough rune crafting experience. I haven't seen many numbers, and the numbers that I've seen, I don't know if they can be backed up. Right? That said, I wouldn't go flow state just for blood rune crafting. I just wouldn't. If that's your angle, then just go soul harvest instead. So what flow state is it's a time save. And if you play inefficiently, it becomes worse. That's not to be confused with playing slowly or not playing often. It means that if you go, for instance, for 50 mil woodcutting at times 8 or times 12 experience because you get a lot of AFK time, then you're basically wasting the time save from flow state, right? Then, of course, there's also tick manipulation, and I think this is relevant for most players, but tick manipulation increases the base tick rate, so it kind of works against flow state, right? So if you plan on tick manipping, then flow state might be less interesting to you. So I found a Discord post by a guy named MindFreakQT, and he posted up a bunch of numbers between Eternal Harvest or Endless Harvest, whatever it's called, flow state, barb gathering, and the combinations between them. And what I've done is I've looked at a few of them, and for instance, fishing. Endless Harvest is 1.5 mil with Karambwans. Then with Flow State, for instance, Infernal Eels are 3.3. But if you would go Endless Harvest with Barb Gathering, you can get 2.5 at Infernal Eels. Very cool. Then with Woodcutting, 2.6 on Teaks. With Flow State, 5.2. That's a significant increase. And then with Barb Gathering, you could get 6.5 mil at Magics and 10.5 mil at Redwoods, right? So that's even better, so to speak. And gem nodes, or gem rocks rather, 3.5 or 3.4 with Endless Harvest, and then 5.1 with Flow State, and then about 4.1 to 4.6 if you go Runite with Endless Harvest and Barb Gathering. The point is this: Barb Gathering kind of keeps up with Flow State in these three skills, right? Flow State does a little bit more than just these three, but that's something to keep in mind. So if you're looking just, for Runites or whatever gem rocks, you should consider going Barb Gathering instead. Parking that for now. Moving on to Reloaded, you can choose another relic from any tier below this one. This is a tier 7 relic, so you can choose between 1 through 6, and there is a lot to choose from. So Reloaded will typically be used to solve skills. One of the most common reloads that you will probably see is the Soul Harvest reload, just because it fixes rune crafting. Very cool, very valid. But the thing is this: I can't pick your reload for you. It is highly dependent on your area picks, and the only advice I can give is I would look for the best skill solves, and that's you. And for that, you would have to consider your other relic benefits, right? So taking a look at what relics you can reload into, Endless Harvest, actually park that for now. Let's do the colors first. The yellow colors are skills that are helped by the relic, but are not arguably free solves. So if you take a look at Hotfoot, I've got smithing marked as yellow because I'm arguing that Hotfoot is not a free smithing solve, right? Then in blue are skills that are arguably solved without the relic anyway. So Woodsman Fletching, I think you can do Fletching without Woodsman just fine. Butler's Bell Cooking, same thing, right? I don't think it's needed. And then money, it's a little bit difficult to argue. One thing that comes to mind are gold sinks for construction, but those are like 100 mil, and I think you need like 70 of them to get to 99 construction. That would mean you would need 7 bill. Even with abundance, that might be a little tricky to get. So money is a little bit difficult to value. I think abundance gives a decent amount of money, and Butler's Bell, for instance, especially with transmutation, gives a fair amount of money. Larcenist gives a fair amount of money. I think Larcenist in Tyrannuan, for instance, is around 15.5 mil GP per hour in pure money alone, right? So, Endless Harvest, Mining, Woodcutting, Fishing, Abundance, Money, Hot Food, Agility, Friendly Forager, Herblore, and Potions, which is interesting for melee and rangers. Woodsman would be just for Hunter. I would argue, yes, you do get seeds. That's something to keep in mind, but I don't think it is a reason to reload into Woodsman. You can. Transmutation does a whole lot. I think one of the stronger things with transmutation is prayer. It does help with money. It does help with farming, and it definitely helps with magic. Conniving Clues would be just for points. Then Butler's Bell solves a whole lot, and I actually quite like it. So reloading into Butler, or arguably going Butler first to leverage it better, and then reloading into most likely Transmute is very fair. Then Nature's Accord, of course, Farming and Herblore. Larcenist has Thieving, but it also has Clues in Kandarin, Crafting and Smithing Solves in Tyrannuan, and then Money. It says Mauritania Tyrannuan. I just checked, just before this video, I checked it in Kandarin. Pickpocketing Heroes is actually very close to Tyrannuan Larcenist and Mauritania Larcenist, right? Then Soul Harvest for Runecrafting and Prayer, and then you also have Grimoire, Eternal Sustenance, and Culling Spree. Very interesting. So the gist of this video is me telling you that you shouldn't get stuck trying to solve every skill. Solving everything is quite difficult this year, and you don't need to max for Dragon rank, let alone reaching tier 8 and having a good league. This is so important. Listen to me, if you haven't done a leagues before, you don't need to max. You can have all the fun you want in leagues. You can get your Dragon rank if you want without maxing, perfectly fine, right? My advice in regards to picking a tier 7 relic would be reloading into a relic that makes your leagues more enjoyable. And it's a bit of a cop out on my end, but it's the best advice I can give. Be reminded that solving potions or money might be way more valuable than solving runecrafting, right? I know a lot of people are eyeballing Soul Harvest, runecrafting. Yes, it's very difficult to solve this year. Soul Harvest is arguably a must pick, or is it? Question mark. Because if you need potions as a melee or a ranger, just pick Friendly Forager instead. and forget about rune crafting. You lamp it up a little bit for tasks maybe, and then forget about it. It's fine, right? If you aren't planning your leagues at all, tier 7 is far enough away for you to figure out where your weaknesses are. So you can just wait until tier 7 and then pick on the spot on whatever skill solve you're lacking, and that should be fine as well. So my conclusion, I think flow state is actually pretty cool, but the way I see it, it makes already good things better, right? Reloaded allows you to make bad things good, and I like that much more. So flow state, it might save time overall as it impacts every skill. So this is some concept math. I just pulled the numbers out of my ass. You can save 10 hours in 4 skills with flow state, and then you can pit that against reloading into something that might save you 20 hours in 1 skill. That's how you would need to look at it. The problem is it's pretty difficult to make an exhaustive list of that because you would have to calc the time saved for every skill with every relic in every area, and then you can make the most optimal decision. And that's not the point of this video. And I'm sorry for that. I did warn you at the beginning of this video. Not doing it. It's way too specific for the individual. You're gonna have to do that yourself if you want the optimal decision. My advice is don't play the optimal way and pick something that makes your leagues more enjoyable. Then, if you don't care much for time saved, I would highly recommend reloading into quality of life. I already said that. Something like Friendly Forager, arguably the weakest relic in tier 2, can be an excellent reload because it solves ranging potions and super combats. That's very good for melee and rangers. You leave a couple of skill solves on the table, but who cares really? So my verdict for this tier is go reloaded. I don't think flow state is trash at all, but I think top players won't pick it. It isn't in any optimized route from what I've seen, and I think a lot of top players might tick manip. So for that, I don't think flow state is a good pick, and I don't think it's a good pick for casuals either. I think casuals are way better off solving skills or picking quality of life, in my opinion. And then lastly, this is very subjective. I also think flow state is kind of boring. I think two ticking is cool, but it doesn't change the game other than better numbers. Like you get to tier 7, you click flow state, and nothing really changes, I would argue. And if you reload into something like Soul Harvest, for instance, you're now farming shards, it opens up rune crafting, and I think it's more fun. And that is a matter of opinion, right? So do with it what you will. I think reloaded is the best pick in this tier. What you need to reload in is so very dependent on your areas and on your other relics. So best of luck. I hope this video helped you. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.